Welcome to Under the Hood, a Fuel.AI miniseries spotlighting the people behind the data powering AI. I'm Virginia Puccio, founder and CEO of Fuel.AI. Each episode features a top bounty hunter and the impact they're making. Let's get into it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our final episode of Under the Hood. Today I have Kelley with me. Kelley's one of our long-standing bounty hunters out of San Diego, California. He's been near the top of the earners list for quite some time, and I'm excited to welcome him to the show. Hey Kelley.
Hi, Virginia. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Just getting ready to go do some bounties, actually.
There you go. All right. Well, then we'll try not to keep you too long so you can get out there and get hunting. So I want to talk a little bit about how long you've been a bounty hunter and how you first heard about Fuel AI.
hmm
I will say that I looked into it before coming on the show, and you were registered as number 73 as a bounty hunter.
Oh, cool.
And so that's, you've been here for a long time, and that's of all of our top earners, you're the one who's been here the longest. So tell me a little bit about how'd you hear about us and that kind of thing. How long have you been with us?
So it's been a few years. I heard about you guys, just kind of fell upon it. I was on LinkedIn just looking at AI stuff and just looking for it was kind of like looking for stuff to invest in. Um, and just looking at trends and stuff. And then I just was scrolling, and I think it was actually either your post or like sharing the Fuel AI, like looking for bounty hunters. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And, I signed up then and there, and I was like, oh, they probably won't, reach out to me. But then, I got the email notification and went on that first bounty. And then it's just started happening, more often now, weekly. But yeah, it was the consumer electronic bounty. It was when I first started.
Awesome. So it sounds like you didn't really have any like reservations or no, there was nothing that was holding you back. You just found it and said, I'm going to try it. Did you have any reservations about joining or about giving it a try?
At first, I was like, uh, this might be a little bit too good to be true. I went and did it, and it was very easy, and I was like, wow, like, and then I was kind of like waiting to get paid, and it wasn't till I actually got paid, and then I think I started looking more into you guys, and I was like, well, this is actually a thing, and it's real. But yeah, definitely at first I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get paid for this, or this is just, too cool of a thing. I was worried that it was just not gonna work out, but it's worked out amazing.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me a little bit about the mission or missions that you work on. What's it like? What is that like for you?
So I typically do stores that are kind of closer to me. Um, I also work a full time, 9 to 5 job. So I do this stuff on my days off and just kind of like to supplement my income and help me pay for extra stuff. But I typically will try to space out my stores over a few days. I do them Sundays and Tuesdays generally, make sometimes a couple on Monday. But for some stores, I'll ride my bike there and just kind of make it, because I do it on my day off, so I make it kind of an enjoyable thing. But I'll go into the store and I'll kind of map out everything in my head that I'm going to take pictures of. I've been doing it for a while now, so I pretty much know where everything is. So I can do it, in a pretty good amount of time now. But yeah, I'll start with the big stores, and I'll just kind of just make my way through, take my time, taking all the pictures, making sure I get all the categories. And I've made friends with the employees that work there, so it's just kind of like a enjoyable thing. That I go in, I go, hey guys, and they say hi to me, and yeah, so it's a enjoyable thing, but I do try to space them out over a couple days, so I'm not overloading my phone.
Yeah. So I heard that you are pretty much the only person who works on Pacific sales. So tell me a little bit about that store. they're only available in the San Diego and Southern California area. So tell me a little bit about what that's like.
Sure. Pacific Sales is similar to Best Buy as far as because they're affiliated as far as like the price tags and stuff, but the store is only like your home appliances, so like refrigerators, microwaves, dishwashers, stuff like that. It's just a big showroom, so depending on which one you go to, there's a lot of products that are set up a little differently there, and when you go into Pacific Sales, the since there usually isn't that many people in Pacific Sales because it's a showroom, the employees really are going to talk to you. So when I went into Pacific Sales, of course they were asking me what I was doing, and I have my badge, and so that helps a lot. I have the badge with also the letter to the retailer printed on the back of the badge as well. So for me, the guys at Pacific Sales were super interested. I actually got the manager to apply as a bounty hunter. Yeah, but yeah, that store's a little bit different. I've had to definitely make friendly with the employees there, and that's helped me a lot. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of refrigerators in Pacific Sales, so get ready for that.
Well, that's great. What would you say is like the best part about being a bounty hunter, or what are your favorite things about it?
So I love the flexibility of it, the fact that, you can choose which stores, which locations that you want to do, and then you have that window of time to do it, but you could wake up early in the morning and go knock it out and have the rest of your day, or, if you're doing a store like, Home Depot or Walmart, you can go do it at 8 p.m. at night if you want. So I love the flexibility. I sometimes travel with my other jobs, so I traveled with another bounty hunter. His name's Alfonso, and we've gone to different states. And I've actually done bounties in those different states while we're doing our other work, and that was pretty cool. We ended up I did Walmart in Wisconsin or something like that, and we ended up going using. I got paid for the bounty, and then we used that money and we went and saw a baseball game in Wisconsin.
That's
Yes,
so cool.
just the flexibility, and you can do it wherever. That's what I love about it, and for just that extra income, it helps a lot. So
That's great. So, tell me, do you have any tips for a successful data capture?
yes, so I would say just read the instructions very carefully. I made that mistake a couple times when I was first starting. And yeah, that'll save you a lot of trouble, is reading the instructions very carefully every week, because they may change slightly. Also, when you go into a store, I would say dress nice. If you don't have a badge, get a badge. The store and the employees will be much more friendly to you if you have a badge and you look nice and you look, professional. And then just, if somebody approaches you as an in-store employee, just tell them what you're doing. Be stoked about it, and it's going to help them out as a store and a business as well. So just kind of amplify that synergy there, and then just make sure your pictures are high quality. You want no blurs. You want to be able to read everything. You want to make sure you get the aisles and the products from the angles that you guys are actually looking for, and that comes with also reading the directions, looking at those examples if you're not sure.
Awesome. Um, okay, so you mentioned that you have another 9 to 5 job besides bounty hunting. Can you tell us a little bit about that and also maybe about your educational background, your work background, what outside of bounty hunting? Tell us about
Of
your.
course. Yeah, so I work in like the automotive quick lube industry. I manage a quick lube shop, similar to like a Jiffy Lube Valvoline type deal. So I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years, and I love doing that. Working on cars, it's interesting. You get to see a lot of different. It's a hands-on job. I did my education. I grew up in northern San Diego County, out in a place called Valley Center. So I did some college, but nothing as far as like that would relate to anything that I'm doing with you guys right now. Um, I've always just had a curiosity with techie stuff, so that's kind of how I fell upon this.
That's great. So, you talked a little bit about the money. Can you tell me a little bit about how much you make as a bounty hunter, either on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, how often you get paid, and any like you mentioned about saving up and things like that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, you know, I've been doing it for a little while, so I can typically get, three to five stores a week maybe. And depending on those stores that I get, I can range on making 500 a week to even more than 1,000 a week. So you think about that in a month, that's an extra $4,000 per month. You add that up over a year, that's some pretty nice supplemental income. So the way we get paid is pretty cool with the new money company. That's been great. And I typically just have my bank account linked to that account, the new money company, and it's a very quick, easy transfer. And it's quick and easy, and you get paid on a weekly basis. So you're not waiting 30 days or whatever to finally get paid for your work. It's like no, you get paid almost a day or two later. So that's really nice.
Yeah, I think that when we originally spoke, you had mentioned, or you've told us over the years, that you were saving up for your wedding, and then you were able to, have a little bit extra money for the wedding. And then, is there anything that you're saving for now? Anything coming up that you're going to be saving for?
Yeah, so my wife and I just celebrated our first year anniversary. Yes, 1 year. We've been together for almost 10, but married for one. So yeah, we went to Hawaii on our honeymoon, and Fuel.AI like literally paid for that. So that
Awesome.
was awesome. And in the future, we just bought a little van,
Oh, cool.
and we kind of like gutted the back of it, and we're gonna make that into a camping van and do some road trips. So that's kind of the next thing to save up for is getting the van all set up and going out on the road and probably doing bounties on the road too.
That's so cool. Awesome. You also mentioned the new money company, and just for the people out there who aren't familiar with that, they're a sort of like a peer-to-peer. So it's similar to like a PayPal or a Venmo or a Cash App, where Fuel AI pays the bounty hunters. It goes directly into their new money company account, and then you guys can pull that out, and there shouldn't be a fee to you guys or to us. It should be that they're making money. New money company actually makes money off the forex with the exchange rate.
You're
So
correct. Yes.
yeah, it's pretty cool. The new money company is a really cool partnership. They're doing some really interesting stuff with fintech. So yeah.
Yeah, and that also you guys put me onto that. I would have known of the new money company. So that's kind of and also a cool little perk too. You get to be involved in these cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They're also a pretty early stage startup, but they have a really strong future ahead too.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
So I have one last question for you. If somebody was thinking about becoming a bounty hunter and they wanted your advice, what do you think you would tell them?
So I've honestly recommended a lot of people to start doing this. So I have people hitting me up all the time asking for advice. So
Awesome.
I try to just most of the time people are asking me like there's so many products bundled into this one area. It's so concentrated. How am I supposed to get all these things perfect? And I would just say there is going to be some products where it's so concentrated that you're going to have to get creative with your angles. You might have maybe a little something in the background, but if you can get that product from an angle really good and then make sure you get the price tag really good. Don't overthink those concentrated areas. Just take the pictures and just make sure you get all the products. Also, another thing people ask is just you know there's stuff behind, there's generators, power washers, where they're displayed, it's all gated, right? So you can't get a very clear picture of that, So there's going to be these kind of one-off cases, but don't let that discourage you. Just capture the whole display, even if there's a cage, stuff like that. Even if it's too concentrated, just make sure you're capturing everything, every price tag, and just get really detailed. Don't hold back as far as like, I probably capture more than 1,000 photos when I go out on a single store. So yeah, just snap away.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate your time today. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining us, Kelley.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Happy hunting.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Under the Hood. We'll be back next week with another story from the people behind the data. Fuel.AI is a global marketplace connecting data collectors to AI builders for first-party AI training data. See you soon.